Hey, shalom everyone. This is Amir Tsarfati. I'm live from Fort Worth, Texas, next to Dallas. And I just wanted to give you a quick, summary of what has just happened in the White House about an hour and a half ago, okay? Now, a lot of people are asking themselves, what is going on here? Did Trump throw Israel under the bus, or is this a good deal, a bad deal? Did Netanyahu just lose the elections, if there were ones? What just happened? So I'll wait for all of you to connect, and I'll give you a quick summary of what happened in Washington, D.C. In the last few hours, okay? Very, very, very important update. Do me a favor, please share. Press the share button right now so many people will be able to watch and understand, because there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of frustration, a lot of anxiety, disappointment. But let me break it down to you so you understand what is it exactly that Netanyahu said yes to and Hamas has not yet responded to. So in fact, while I'm waiting for you, it'll be nice to see where you guys are from. So you can write in your comments on Facebook, Shalom from, and then tell me where you're from, okay? You see that we've got people from different parts. So write comments and tell me where you guys are from, okay? So let me see what part of America or the rest of the world you guys are from. I see that there's a lot of people watching. Okay, Orlando is in the house. Where else do we have people from? Okay, great. Seattle is in the house. Wonderful. Texas, Jacksonville, Texas is in the house. Wonderful. All right, South Wales, the UK, in the house. Florida is in the house. More from Florida. All right, folks. So let me remind you. Idaho is in the house. Texas is in a wonderful. Okay, let me remind you exactly what the goals of the war in Israel, in Gaza were. Okay, because Netanyahu mentioned those million times. So first, dismantling Hamas, demilitarizing Gaza, and returning the hostages. Remember, again, dismantling Hamas, whatever, disarming Hamas, and kicking them out. Demilitarizing Gaza. No one has any attack weapon. And returning all the hostages, 20 that are alive and 28 that are dead. These were the three objectives of the war. Of course, Netanyahu is against the Palestinian state. We don't believe that the Palestinian state is anything smart. In fact, we think that's the problem. Gaza was indeed a Palestinian state, and look what it produced. Netanyahu made it very clear, we are not going to allow them to have a state. So, what is no? No Palestinian state, no Hamas in Gaza, no weapon in Gaza in anyone's hands, and denazification of Gaza. They have to learn to live with us, not to die. Okay? All of that. Now, Israel for the past 2 years, and especially in the last few months, is all the way inside the Gaza Strip in the Gideon's chariots and Gideon chariots phase 2 right now, systematically destroying Hamas above and under the ground. 80% of Gaza is uninhabitable. More than 80% of the Gaza City residents fled already down south to the humanitarian zone. And what we have now is an agreement that was crafted that holds within it disarming of Hamas, and they will be expelled, demilitarizing of Gaza, denazification, and all the hostages are back, and it does not include a Palestinian state. That's exactly the goals of the wars that Israel has hoped to achieve. Now, to the disappointing part. And I know that there is a disappointing part, but wait all the way to hear the genius part on behalf of Trump and Netanyahu. The disappointing part is that although the countries of the world declared a Palestinian state or acknowledge or recognize a Palestinian state, Israel was not allowed to impose a sovereignty over Judea and Samaria and even parts of Gaza. So one will say, look, Amir, it can happen again. But let me tell you this. This deal, it reminds me exactly the deal of the century from a few years ago that brought to the world the Abraham Accords. It was on the paper an offer for 2 states. That was before October 7th, and that was a deal that we offered the Palestinian Authority. But in reality, it exposed then the fact that they don't want 2 states. They rejected it on the spot because they don't want 2 states. They want 1 state from the river to the sea, remember. And therefore, all the moderate Muslim countries in the Gulf, and including Morocco and including South Sudan and Sudan and all of that, all of them said, okay, well, if they say no to the deal, we can move forward and have peace with Israel. This is exactly, it's almost like a deja vu right now. On the paper, it looks like it's very disappointing. Oh, you know, we don't have a sovereignty on Judea and Samaria and all that. But in reality, it is a setup because Hamas will never agree to be disarmed, expelled, and to, on the first day, give up all the hostages, return them all. It will never happen. Just like Hezbollah will never disarm, just like Iran will never give up its aspiration for nuclear weapon. Look, Iran is now back to the harsh sanctions of the UN and the rest of the world just because Iran did not want to show the world where the stockpile of its enriched uranium. In other words, they prefer sanctions, crippling sanctions, over the right to produce a bomb. And I mean, they prefer that, not over, but they prefer that in order to keep the right to produce a bomb. Which is why? Because that's who they are. They want to destroy Israel. They want a bomb. Okay? The same is with Hamas. And the same is with Hezbollah. These organizations will never, ever disarm. Their entire existence is armed resistance. Their entire existence is about the destruction of Israel. And certainly now that over 60,000 people dead there, and more than half of them are Hamas terrorists, And now that 80% of Gaza is uninhabitable, do you think that now they're going to say, okay, we give up? Of course not. But the problem is, all the Arab countries and Europe and America are now on the side with Israel because Israel said yes. The Emir of Qatar gave his word that Hamas is going to say yes. Now he's sweating, he's schwitzing. Why do you think he is sweating? Because now he has to go to the leadership of Hamas in Qatar that we failed to kill, and he has to tell them, guys, you need to say yes to this. He has to convince them to say yes to this. They cannot say yes to this. If they say yes to this, this is the end of Hamas. Everybody knows that. By the way, how do you know that this is a bad deal for the Palestinians? Not a single Palestinian. I follow tons of channels. All of them are saying this is complete capitulation of Hamas, if they agree. Now, it's true that it's disappointing that the president is not allowing Israel to annex Judea and Samaria, but remember, that was not any of the goals of the war to begin with. Israel is now receiving a chance to not give them a Palestinian state, to get the hostages back, to get Hamas out of Gaza, to demilitarize Gaza, to stay within the security perimeter on the border with Gaza, with Egypt, and all along the border with Israel, and to keep it. And when I said perimeter, I mean we're in their territory. We're inside Gaza. We're not on our territory. All of that is part of this deal. Hamas cannot say yes to this. So I know that Netanyahu's phone call to the Emir of Qatar to apologize sounds a little humiliating. But look, Netanyahu did not apologize for striking Hamas. Read carefully what he said. He said, we apologize for killing a Qatari security man, and we promise not to do it again. In between the lines, it was, as long as you don't host Hamas. Look, Qatar was and is still traumatized by the strike in Doha. Traumatized. Now, they needed to save face with an Israeli apology, and I know, trust me, it's revolting. It's disgusting. Qatar is the last country anyone should apologize to. But once we did that, we took the sting out of all of this. The Qataris they now must agree to this. They have to. And trust me, I don't mind killing Hamas, destroying Hamas, and apologizing to Qatar every other day. I don't mind that. As long as I remove my enemy, who cares? Everybody knows what we really think about Qatar, and Qatar knows. Netanyahu told them, just so you know, we're against your support of the Muslim Brotherhood. We're against your brainwashing of the people in the universities. We're against your bashing Israel on Al Jazeera. He said that to the Emir of Qatar. But everybody also understand that Qatar was the linchpin here because Hamas is hosted in Doha, the leaders that must say yes to this. And so what we did, we caused the leaders of Hamas to completely be isolated because now Qatar is back in the game, and now all the Arab countries and all the European countries and America are actually on the side of a proposal that Israel said yes to. And if Hamas will say no, Trump said loud and clear, if Hamas will say no, Bibi, I'm giving you the green light to finish the work, and you know exactly what you need to do. And regarding a Palestinian state, the only time the Palestinian state was mentioned is actually in the negative side, when Trump said to the people, Netanyahu is against a Palestinian state, and I totally understand him. And actually called the countries that recognize Palestinian state foolish countries. So what happened is two important things. Palestinian states is not there, not part of the deal. Hamas received basically a notice. If you don't say no, Israel has the green light from America to finish the work. And if they say yes, all of Israel's goals of the war are going to be met. I'm going through all of their channels. They are shocked. They can't believe what just happened to them. The Emir of Qatar is now sweating because he has to, and they are now peeing in their pants because the whole world, literally the whole world, even the Arab countries and the European countries, whom they thought are on their side, are now not on their side. That was the perfect setup. That was the perfect honey trap, if you ask me. And exactly just as the Abraham Accords were signed and the deal of the century did not produce any Palestinian state, I believe that this deal will not bring about any Palestinian state. And I do believe that Israel will be basically the victor here. Now, if it was up to me, and if you ask me, what is it, Amir, that you would like to see? Of course, I would love to see that we impose our sovereignty on Judea and Samaria. If it was up to me, all the Gazans should be out, and we should actually build Israeli towns and cities on Gazan soils. That's up to me. And I guess I think most Israelis would love that. But as far as the goals of the war, and as far as what we defined for the military and the soldiers, everything that were defined as the goals of the war is going to be met if Hamas will say yes. And if not, Hamas will be destroyed anyway. And there is no deal, because the deal is with Hamas. So you understand, I think that Netanyahu knew exactly why he said yes to this. If you looked at him during the press conference, you knew that he knows that Hamas is going to say no. Now, if you ask me, within 2-3 days, Hamas will say yes, but, which is no, basically, because we're not going to capitulate. And basically, that's it. Hamas, and the most important thing, by the way, the withdrawal of Israel to a specific point is conditioned by the disarmament of Hamas. Who is going to make sure Hamas is disarmed? We don't even know, and we don't even know how, which means on the first day we will get the hostages, but we will not pull out of Gaza until God knows how, or God knows when. So I don't trust them. I don't believe they will ever stop trying to plot against us. I think Hamas is going to have to either capitulate or be destroyed. Both are good. And I think that at the end of the day, all of the goals of the war of Israel will be met. Israel will come out of it victor. No Palestinian state will be declared. Israel will get all of its hostages. Gaza will be uninhabitable. And Hamas will be gone, and Gaza will be demilitarized. That's what we wanted. And now we're going to move to the West Bank and start taking care of business there as well. We're still in Lebanon because Hezbollah doesn't want to get disarmed. We're still in Syria because the Syrians are not yet proving themselves to be anyone we can trust. At the end of the day, the war will be over and Israel will be in Gaza, in the West Bank, in Lebanon, in Syria, safer and secure than ever before. So I know that we didn't get everything we want, but I think that this was a honey trap. This was a setup. I think we managed skillfully to isolate Hamas completely. And let's see what's going to happen. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting. But again, I don't trust Hamas. I don't trust the Palestinians. I don't trust Qatar. I don't trust any of those things. And I think that the fact that we conditioned the withdrawal with the proving that Hamas is disarmed is the key here. So we're not leaving Gaza until we make sure it's clean. This is amazing. And again, bottom line, all the hostages are back on the first day. All of them. No more games of 5 here, 7 there. Not it. Hamas lost its leverage. It's lost its winning cards. This is it. President Trump skillfully navigated through the pressure from abroad, from within, and the attempt to make sure that Israel's interests will not be harmed. And if you ask anyone on October 7th, if you ask anyone on October 7th, 2023, if you ask anyone that if within 2 years Hamas will be out, Gaza will be destroyed, and all the hostages are back, and Gaza is demilitarized, and Israel will stay to secure the border with Egypt and all the border of Gaza, you would take that deal even two years ago. You would take it, trust me. So we're now saying yes to it. Again, if it was up to me, if it's my dreams and my hopes and my wishes, we should annex Judea and Samaria and even Gaza. We should, but it's not yet the time, nor the climate to do that. And we're going to have to wait with that one. Until then, we have to trust that He who keeps Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. So remember that. Go to Telegram. I detailed in Telegram all the plan. Everything is there. All the information, all the videos, all the pictures. Go to my Telegram channel. I've got 630,000 subscribers. Do not follow any other Telegram channel. And last but not least, let me make it very clear. We're living in biblical times, folks. And I pray and hope that you will get a bigger, wider, broader understanding of the days in which we live right now. And I want to remind you that next week I'm launching my new book, Exploring Ezekiel. Go to Amazon. Please pre-order. Let's get that book high in the list. Let's get it on the shelves of the secular stores, and let's get the non-believers look, read, and get saved. Okay, please help me with that. Thank you. Share this video. Thank you. God bless you. And talk to you soon. Bye.